Hi, I'm Banjo Fred. Um, I've been asked by friends to recommend a banjo ukulele, and I thought it would be good just to show a few banjo ukuleles and give my impression of some of them. Um, Everything is based on the market as of um, September 2020. Um, I'm not aware of everything that's out there, but I have looked at a few things. Um, I do have some to show so that you can get an idea about them. Um, First of all, a banjo ukulele is intended to imitate the sound of a banjo. But a 5-string banjo, like this one. This is a 5-string banjo. It has a 5th string up here. And that 5th string is a high G. It's considered like a drone in bagpipes. That one has a resonator on the back. This one is open backed. And there's the peg for the 5th string, which is not quite as long. And that's where you get the idea of banjos ringing. So when you want to select a ukulele and make it sound like a banjo, for starters, it's going to have nylon strings instead of the steel strings, so it might be a little bit harder to get a few things like slides and pull-offs and hammer-ons to sound exactly like they would on nylon strings. But at least you want to try and imitate the sound such that this top string is a high. And in fact, the fact that it's a G also makes it good because the ukulele is GCEA. So a high G is probably the best thing to get. Low G is just going to sound like a poor quality banjo. Now I'm not going to, not even going to show you some of these little sopranos. These are specialty type banjos. This one is a Dixie. It's from the 1940s, intended for the World War, made of aluminum so it wouldn't break. It's quite vintage. Another vintage one is this Slingerland. It's older. It takes steel strings, and so it has a different sound altogether. But most banjo ukuleles have pegs that come through, and if they're 1-to-1 ratio, they're called friction tuners, and friction tuners are really hard to keep the instrument in tune. I would not recommend a soprano. I would not recommend friction tuners at all. You want geared tuners. Now let's start with the most expensive. Probably this one is very, very different. It's a 5-string 5-string banjo ukulele. It's, I guess, more like a mini banjo. And the reason it's in my collection is because I can now take banjo tablature and I can apply it to this, and I'm only 5 frets higher, which means that I'm in C instead of in open G. I'm in open C. And that makes things easier to duplicate when I have the song already in banjo tablature. This one, of course, is a few $1,000s, and it's handmade. It's all maple and pistachio, very, very high quality with geared tuners. So next down would be my go-to banjo ukulele that I paid a little bit more than a couple of $1,000s for. It's made by the same company, Mayamoe. Now they go under the name of Bean Sprout. So if you're interested in getting a Bean Sprout and you want to spend a couple of $1,000, get yourself a really, really good banjo uke. This one is, of course, open back. This one is all walnut, and it has an ebony fretboard. It's an exceptional instrument. It sounds very much like a banjo. There are two ways of playing the banjo. I'm not counting the four-string ones that are used for Celtic or Dixie. They're called plectrum banjos. Plectrum meaning pick. So you're supposed to hold the pick in your one finger between your fingers and go back and forth on strings. No, I prefer the five-string style where you put picks on these three fingers and then you plant a finger and you roll. And so that's called a three-finger roll. And you can apply the three-finger roll to a four-string banjo. I'm assuming that you're not in the market for anything quite so expensive. I would say, moving on down the line, I certainly would highly recommend the Deering Banjo Uke. Now, the reason the Deering Banjo Uke is so good is because the pot is a larger size. Standard pots are 8 inches, this one is 10. And you can see, without being amplified, it certainly has a very loud sound. Okay, so it is high quality. It's beautiful maple, solid maple, fairly heavy, made by the Deering Banjo Company. Absolutely a phenomenal. Geared tuners. They're very guitar-like up there, but still it makes a really good sound. This is a concert. I bought this concert to emulate the George Formby sound. They make a tenor which comes out to about here as well. And this one I would highly recommend, but it is about $750. So it's quite expensive and it's made in the States. This one is an interesting one. This one is a by Gold Tone. Now, the magic number for purchasing a banjo ukulele is about $250, $275. Anything less than $250 is probably poor quality, poor workmanship. If you order one from China for $100, you're going to get more glue than you are wood. They glue things together and they do it in slices of wood, and things fall apart, they don't last very well, and they have a terrible sound. Whereas Gold Tone make a high quality machine, but they're ukuleles, banjo ukuleles that have the skin head or the plastic head are expensive. If you're going to spend $700 for a Gold Tone tenor, my recommendation is to always go with the Good Time. This one, however, is a little bit less expensive. It's more like a $225 mark. The reason is because it's plastic. Comes in 4 colors, either absolutely clear called the diamond. This one is purple called the amethyst. There's a ruby, which is a red, and then it also comes in a green one, the emerald. It doesn't have a bad sound. A little bit plastic sounding, but you know, it's absolutely brilliant for the price. At about $225, you can't do much worse than that. I took Christmas tree lights and put them on the inside with a battery on the outside, so when I turn it on, I end up with something a little more decorative. Next, I would like to talk about a banjo that I don't have in my collection because it just came out recently. It's, let me get my notes here. It's called the Duke 10. The Duke 10 has a very odd-shaped headstock, but it, like all the other maple bodies, the Gold Tone and the Good Time, it's a nice solid banjo. It has a very good sound, but it is expensive. It costs about $520. These are all Canadian prices. Now, there is another good option, and that's the Oscar Schmidt OUB1. It runs about $250. I did find that on eBay for $180. I also found the Gold Tone Little Gem for about $160. But if you want to get a brand new one, I would recommend the Oscar Schmidt as a good sounding ukulele. Anything else lower than that, you can get the K-Mize for $106. It comes with a bag, it comes with a tuner, it comes with straps, it comes with picks, strings, everything. But they're all low quality. And turning that into Canadian money, it's going to end up being about $150. And certainly won't have the sound that you want. So I would not recommend the K-Mize or others like it. They're more like the Chinese ukuleles that are built in a factory, manufactured on a line. A lot of these are hand luthiered. Even the Deering Company have luthiers working to produce all their pots and on the lathes and things. So it's not just a machine. So my recommendation is, if you're on a low budget, you can't go wrong with the $250 Oscar Schmidt OUB1. You can't go wrong with this little Gold Tone Little Gem. It's not too bad, and it's sounding okay for $225. And it sells along in the Quake too, so it's a nice maple stock. If you want to spend a little bit more money, I highly recommend the Deering Good Time. It has a great loud sound. You can get concert, you can get tenor, and I think you're going to run about $765. So that's what I think of banjo ukuleles. There are many others on the market. I'm not a sponsor. I don't have a sponsor, so I'm just pointing out what I know about them right now. So if I've helped anybody at all, I hope you can get some information from me. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.